If you're one of those people that think I'm an asshole because I accidentally walked down the wrong way of a one-way aisle in Stop and Shop to pick up some goddamn toilet paper, then you definitely don't listen to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast. But you should fucking start. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie. Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
I just went out to Stop and Shop to pick something up real quick. I feel like I just got fucking let out on work relief.
There you go. Look at you.
I fucking have been home for the last 2 days, and I just want to fucking... If I was a Linkin Park song, I'd be crawling in my skin.
Nailed it.
Woo!
Look at you. This is your Saturday night right now.
This is my fucking Saturday. I'm going to pick up. I saw somebody on, I don't know who it was. I think it was Louis DeVito. I saw him on Instagram, and he had a fucking hard seltzer, but it was made by Corona.
Yeah, I saw those.
I'm gonna see if they have that at the fucking LQ.
Saturday Cabernet.
My man is posting.
But yeah, if I was a fucking item on a wall, I'd be a poster.
If you were a fucking stationary supply, you'd be a posted. He is fucking posting. He's like
post a lot.
he's like, what else can I? Fuck it. It's sunny today. Post a sun. you're just posting.
That's all I got, Jason. That's all I got.
Saturday Cabernet.
What are you doing? Walking fucking Leonardo, huh?
I am. Listen, let me ask you a question. If a genie granted you a wish that would entail you will never, ever, ever be able to go to a single rock show again. You can never see your favorite bands. You can never go to see your friends play. You can't go to another show again, but she will grant you fame with your band. So the only time that you will be able to indulge in music is that you'll be on stage, you'll play to thousands of fans, you'll have a great time, but you'll never be able to see a single rock show again. Would you take that bet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's a yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Take fuck music, fuck bands, fucking. All I want is me.
All right. Here's another one. If all you could eat is steak, that's it.
Uh-huh.
And they took all the other food away, but all you could eat is steak, would you do it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm kind of doing that now.
Okay. All right. Last one. The last one, the final one. Are you ready? If they said you could be good looking for a day.
Jason, I've been good looking for 43 fucking years.
What's going on?
Much, you?
Just walking Lenny down the old cul-de-sac.
You don't blow my nerves.
Have you seen Billy Joel live?
Yeah, dude.
How many times?
That's controversial too.
I'm gonna try to make it a point that when music comes back, I'm not a Billy Joel fan, but I'm going to try to get to his show because it's like and it's not even like a bucket list, but it's like somebody you should see.
The bucket list.
Yeah.
Nah, listen, that's why am I a huge Madonna fan? No, but I took Anna to see Madonna. Madonna, I feel like you should experience that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'd like to see Madonna one day.
See Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Sheryl Crow.
I bet you Sheryl Crow's a good live act. She got a lot of
very good.
Got some hits. I woke up this morning and I checked our Chase account and I was like, Lee. And she's watching me check the account, so she knows what I'm doing. I'm like, Lee. She's like, what's the matter? I'm like, we got hacked. She's like, what the fuck happened? I go, Sephora hacked us. She goes,
oh, that's great.
She goes, shut up. I told you I was making that purchase.
That purchase.
That purchase. They're called purchases. But when I do it,
It's called wasting money.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What used to be considered classy but is now trashy?
Classy, but now trashy. I don't know what.
Your sister.
So you started drinking a little earlier today. That's good. Saturday, it's a Cabernet, jerking off on my back deck.
I want to talk about baseball.
Right.
And I want to talk about our man, Rob Manfred.
All right.
Are you ready?
Do it.
Let's go. Rocco, Rob Manfred said he's 100% positive that baseball will be played this summer.
I heard they want to do it on, like a week ago, I heard they want to do it like July 4th, like opening day, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Would kill to see a Yankee game. And they were talking about playing at a facility potentially like in Arizona and not having fans in the stands, and they didn't know exactly how to do it, so they consulted the Mets to see how they do it every year. No, but I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna fucking do it. Like it's gonna be like a quarantine city for like a half a season supposedly.
Now, what's the deal with the players and the owners? Because the players and the owners have to come to an agreement. Now, the owners came to an agreement that they're saying that they're going to play like 86 games or 89 games, and they're going to do like a
prorated like salary. So
they're going to do like a prorated salary.
So like if you were, let's just say a round number, you were due to make $1 million this year.
Ooh.
500,000, right?
Let me ask you a question. Most baseball players are making $1 million plus. Would you say everybody on the roster or no?
The rooster. I think, I think the league minimum is like $850 or something like that. Could be wrong.
All right. So if someone told you, you want to know what? You get to play something that you love, that you grew up on, that you're going to entertain millions of people, and we're only giving half your salary. So I'm sorry, sir. This year, we're only giving you $300,000. Would you bitch for one season?
If I was a really good player, I would go straight up Goodfellas on them. Say, fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, but even if you're a really good player, are you getting half of $40 million?
Yeah, to us that are fucking broke fucks, that sounds like a lot. But to those guys, it's what they command and what they think they deserve. And
Rocco, I call that fucking bullshit, Rocco.
Okay.
Let's be real here yet. We're all human beings. They're getting paid for. I'm just throwing an example out there. You're getting paid $30 million to play 162
kids game.
games.
Yes, I agree.
All right.
I'm just telling you the mentality of some professional athletes. That's all.
All right. That's good, because you call them professional athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are professional athletes. I can't hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. But what do you think? $15 million instead of 30 for one season, and you're playing less games, less chance to get hurt. You get more money if you make it to the postseason.
Yeah.
So more incentive to make it to the postseason. And I don't know, whatever. Think about taking your salary and fucking cutting it in half. Now we have a problem. $40 million, you cut that in half. You're still making $20 million. You're still imagine you're still making what? If someone offered you $1 million to play the fucking.
If someone offered you $100, you'd be giving out hand jobs in an alley. I get it.
I told you, do not repeat what I did my senior year in college. Jerk off. So that's my take. They should be happy. Everyone should be happy. You still get to play. How about if you didn't play? Take the prorated fucking salary and go out there. Fucking sharpen up your cleats. Let's go, son. Time to play.
Baseball is like super consistent. It's like every single day, almost every day. You know what I mean? So they would have started in April, May, June. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be tough, man. These guys are gonna be, like statistics are gonna be weird, And then I heard if they don't play this season, their contracts are valid. So like if there's like a guy with 1 year left in his contract and you don't play this year, he's now a free agent, which sucks.
Yeah. Play your heart out as you did as a kid. show the fans great time and a great season in this horrific year, because it's something for us to look forward to as fans.
Yes.
And let's have a great time, even if you're playing in the stands to nobody, like the Mets. Yo, Rock.
Yo.
How fucking awesome was Post Malone streamed live April 24th, a fundraiser with Blink-182's Travis Barker, 11,680,000 views, a Nirvana tribute.
That's it? Only 11 million?
Only 11 million, yeah. Bro, it looked like he'd set up in his house.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other guys were. I'm sorry if they are famous, but I don't know who the other dudes were. But my boy Post came out in like I know Kurt wore that type of gown at one time. Did you get to see any of this?
I did.
Dude, I'll tell you what, bro. Him for being a rapper, R&B artist, which is very good, and I love Circles, and I love a lot of stuff that he does. He killed Nirvana.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think his influences were actually like rock music. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. But he's like super talented. Like you said, man, like great rapper. Like he sings. You know?
Yeah.
I think that was probably one of the most successful things that have been put out streaming since this whole lockdown has been in effect.
The event raised funds for the United Nations Foundations of COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund for the World Health Organization in support for COVID-19. So you could have just donated while they were playing, and I'm sure you probably could still donate now. But I know he plays guitar. I know he's got a little bit of a rock background, but I just want to check it out. I was very impressed by his performance. Him playing guitar and sounding like Kurt. Now, I don't want to be an asshole.
You are.
Thank you.
I know you don't want to be, but you are.
I'm not a big Nirvana fan. I love Nirvana's Unplugged album, but am I a big Nirvana fan? No. Could you get up there and sing out of tune and rock some chords?
Oh, I can. Yeah.
But no, and I'm not even saying that he did that, but I'm just saying, I'm not a huge Nirvana fan, but I do like Nirvana. But I know Dave Grohl went on record saying that he was writing a new album at the time, that he was getting texts and excuse me, and emails about this going on, and he was like, okay, that's cool, but I'm writing an album. And he's getting more texts. He's like, oh, that's cool, but I'm writing an album right now. And then he got so many texts that he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go on. He went on and he was watching it, and he was enamored, and he was honored, and he thought it was so fucking cool. And I give props to Post Malone, bro. I like this dude.
Yeah, dude. He's a different kind of cat. I like his I just saw another one, but his Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
When they're like, it's almost like he's a robot and there's people inside of his head controlling what he's doing. And I want to say it's for like Bud Light Seltzer as well too. It's super funny. I mean, he's obviously talented. I can see him doing like some acting too. Like he's a real solid dude.
Watch, you'll see him reincarnated as one of the fucking dudes from like Sons of Anarchy and the, like that spinoff.
Yo, and he's only 24 years old.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I think you're lying.
I wouldn't lie to you. Yeah, he's 24 years old, dude.
Is there any chance you think he was like a Utah Jazz fan? Nah, forget it.
Down the street. They're looking for my husband walking behind me.
Rocco.
What's up, my brother?
Not only am I a big fan, but I can relate to this comedian because I'm always putting my fucking foot in my mouth.
Amongst other things you put in your mouth.
You dick. He's performed on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Conan, Inside Amy Schumer, True TV, Last Comic Standing, and his podcast, Tuesdays with Stories. We apologize in advance for wasting your time, Mark Norman.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, come on. Thank you, sir. Sirs, appreciate it. Good to be here. Praise Allah. Jews.
First off, how you holding up during this whole quarantine period, lockdown, when no one can leave their houses essentially? But
I'm just trying to accept it. You know, the whole thing's kooky. It's wacky. You go to the grocery store, everybody's wearing a bomb mask and a tear gas mask, and it's all very strange. I'm a touchy guy. I'm like Biden. I got to touch everything. So that's bugging people. It bugs me. I can't touch. I can't connect. But the whole thing that really sucks, I don't mind eating and drinking and watching TV all day. I can do that for the rest of my life. It's just the no stand-up. That kills me.
Yeah. Not only is your industry hurting, a lot of industries are hurting, but as far as comedians, you know.
Well, it's weird for us because, like, I get if you're a bricklayer or a limousine driver or whatever you do, you're doing that for money. But comedy, it's therapy. It's a drug where you got to do it because we got all this bullshit jizz in our brain that we got to get out. And I'm not saying we're better than anybody. I'm just saying we're fucked up, twisted mental patients, and stand up for us is our way to cope with our world. And we can't do that. And we do it every night. I've been doing it 4 times a night for the past 12 years. And now 0, cold turkey. It's crazy.
So, like, where do you go when you go out during the week? Where do you go? Like the Comedy Cellar, places like that, and just go up every night?
Yeah, Comedy Cellar, The Stand, Gotham, New York Comedy Club. You know, I live in Manhattan, so I'm just jumping around. And then on the weekend, every weekend, I go on the road. I go to Denver, San Fran, Phoenix, Philly, whatever it is, and that's how I pay my rent. So that's gone, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely Archie and I are on the smaller scale, like hometown hero musicians, right? And we play out a lot. So I know you're talking about being on stage is like a drug, and for us, being in a band is how you get all the fucked up shit in your head out, you know what I mean? So totally can relate to that.
Exactly. And just building something, like for you guys in a band or whatever, you build an album, you build a record. For us at comics is building an hour, and you got to work out the joke. And at least in a band, you can get into a garage and really wail and practice. But the only way to practice stand-up is in front of an audience. It's the only way, really. And we can't do that. So it's not like we got no canvas.
You know, it's ironic that you say that. One of the questions that I had for you that I was really curious about is that how do you feel about some of the comedians that are streaming their stand-up?
What do you mean?
Like they're just doing their set live.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's them trying to do methadone when they're addicted to heroin. They're just trying to wean off a little bit, you know. And I get it. I just can't do it because it's not the same, and it feels dumb. And you need that in the room reaction. Yep. And I feel like over a Zoom or Google Hangout or whatever the hell it is, Grindr, you're not going to get that same real response, that visceral laugh. And so I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's like being in the room with yourself.
Yes. And then there's always a timing glitch, and you go, did you get that? And they go, oh, sorry, you cut out. And you're like, oh, the whole thing's fucked.
There's no drunk bachelorette party with all dick paraphernalia on them.
That part's good. That's nice.
I'm noticing a lot with like doing the podcast via Zoom. I'm working from home. My wife's working from home. We have the TV on. Even like live with like Kelly and Ryan, they're stepping over each other with the lag and everything. It's one clusterfuck of interviews.
Totally, yeah. And I hate all that shit. And then stand up is like my only real passion. So when that is toyed with just a little or fucked with just a little, I say fuck the whole thing. I'll wait the 2 months till they can do it.
Is that so? That would lead me to asking you about I believe it was like Corona on the street.
Oh yeah. That was me weaning off. That was me like, all right, I got to get some real reaction. So I just boiled it down to the simplest idea I could think of. Let's write some jokes about Corona and just tell them to fucking strangers. That's how desperate I was.
like the fat chick at the bar at the end of the night.
Yes.
I need something.
Yeah, clock's ticking. I gotta get my dick wet here. It's either Fat Tammy or Bob is going to get it eventually.
One of them.
Yeah.
Listen, I know a million times you've told people, like where you're from, what you do, all that bullshit. But just for the people out there, just a little snippet of little something. I know you're a Louisiana native.
Yep.
Had one of the best times of my life. But I think that's only a place that you should visit.
Yeah, I agree.
A little bit.
I agree. I mean, New Orleans is a great city, but it's like Vegas. You don't really want to grow up there. You want a hug and a vegetable every now and then.
Yeah.
But cool city. It's fun to go back to and see it from like other people's eyes, kind of like with, like fresh eyes, like, holy shit, it was all so normal. I had a transvestite nanny. I grew up in a horrible neighborhood. The French Quarter was a couple blocks away. The drinking outside, the jazz, everything. And then when you leave and come back, you're like, wow, this is fucking nuts. I can't believe this was my norm. You know?
Yeah.
And you're saying that living in New York City, right? So that's
yeah. New York's got nothing on New Orleans. If you want to go crime and weirdness and like just New Orleans is more like the Wild West. Like at least New York's got a bunch of cops running around and there's some infrastructure. New Orleans is just like, do what you want. Nobody's watching.
A very good friend of mine, actually a friend of ours, worked for Emerald's restaurants down there for quite a few years. He said, listen, when I took my wife down there some years ago. He goes, when you go down there, do me a favor. Go to Frenchman Street. You're going to enjoy Frenchman Street, but do me a favor. Don't go down too far.
Yeah,
As soon as you start to see the lights dim out a little bit, he's like, that's about as far as you want to go.
Yeah, stay by the people because you will get stabbed, you'll get anally raped, you'll get, herpes, anything. Just stay near the light and near the people because it gets kooky real quick.
Yeah.
Actually went to, I think it was 2 years ago now. I went to WrestleMania there. And stayed in New Orleans. I mean, so like I can imagine, we stayed on Bourbon Street, and that's nutty as it is, but the whole wrestling crowd there was
that was been fun. I mean, that was a wild time. Just you got the wrestling plus the city. Yeah, that's exciting. That's a sight.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
I'd go right back for the muffaletta.
Yeah, I love a hairy bush.
So is it true that you really did live in a mansion in the poor part of the town?
Sure, I could send you photos of it. It's wild. My dad got this mansion for like $200,000, and it's a mansion, legit. It was I don't know, 1 million square feet, whatever the hell square footage is. I don't know how that works, but it was huge. It was so big we couldn't afford to keep fixing it, so we had to make the back of it a bed and breakfast. And so now you're eating breakfast with like traveling musicians and businessmen and all this shit. And it was a weird way to grow up. Plus the transvestite nanny, the tranny nanny. And then the neighborhood was terrifying. My brother is now like a genius programmer because he was too scared to leave the house to go in the neighborhood. So he just played on his computer all day, and now he's fucking killing it at computer stuff. But I was too cooped up. I had to get out, and it got ugly.
Do you think like that kind of stuff is what gave you a lot of perspective and to start your comedy career? Like, because, I mean, that just sounds like a whole ton of material right there, just from the observing the people.
I guess I get that question a lot, but I have no material about my house, which is weird. I almost feel like it's too jarring to talk about. Like people are like, wait, what? Where's this coming from? You're supposed to be telling us about Uber or observations about breakfast. What are you talking about? You tranny nanny? What? You dilapidated mansion? So I've never even touched it in my act. So I just feel like it's too much salt to throw into the meal out of the gate. I almost feel like if I got famous and people knew my backstory, I would dip into it a little more. But I don't know. I think what it was my dad buying this house, this weird upbringing. It made me realize as a kid, like, fuck it. Just go for what you want. And that's part of why I went into stand-up. Like a lot of my friends, they're line cooks and mechanics. Because we had lower upbringing. We had low self-esteem growing up. So being a stand-up was like, what are you, crazy? But in my head, I lived in this weird house, this huge house in a crazy neighborhood. It was all backwards. So I said, fuck it. What's the difference? So that's what got me into stand-up, not the actual surroundings of like, this is weird. It was just the fact that like, we're all going to die one day. Fuck it. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
All right.
What led you to New York, correct? You picked up one day, you were like, you want to know what? It's time to go to the big city and see what happened.
Yeah, well, I went to film school. because I was, 19, 20, 21, just doing that whole drinking myself to death, lived in a house with 5 guys, playing beer pong and trying to get laid and hot tub and all this shit. And I went to film school to try something in life, give it a shot, do something you like. I like movies. And I lived in New York, and the school was a fucking racket, but I would do sets at night, and that was it. I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. So it took film school to get me to find out about stand-up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Expensive way to find out about stand-up.
yeah, exactly. But I also got to New York from that. So now I'm in New York doing stand-up, and it was a huge culture shock. But I was like, I moved back to New Orleans when school ended. It was like an 8-month thing. And I moved back to New Orleans, and I was like, this is a bummer. I'm back here now. I was in the epicenter. I was in the Corona #1 spot for deaths. I got to go back.
So you're doing the circuit in New York.
Oh, yeah.
You're just grinding it, not literally, but grinding it out there.
Yeah, years. I mean, I was a furniture mover. I was a busboy. I was a janitor. I almost turned my brain off because life was so grueling. Like, I got mugged a bunch. My landlord died of AIDS. I got bed bugs. I was poor. I had nothing going on. I had zero stand-up ability. I sucked. I was bombing. Like, nothing was going well. But I just kind of turned my brain off and said, hey, fuck it. I'm in New York. I'm trying this. Who cares? What else am I doing? I'm in my 20s. Fuck it.
Usually people that we talk to that don't have a plan B, they usually succeed.
That's true. Put your back against the cliff.
So from what I read, you were at a nightclub and Miss Amy Schumer walked in.
Yep.
She saw your set. It was one joke, landed you the gig or the opportunity, and landed you the opportunity, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fucking great, dude.
Bombing, one joke hit. She happened to see that one joke. We struck up a conversation. I remember thinking, why is this chick hitting on me? What's going on here? And then she gave me some dates, like, you want to open for me? And I actually said no. I turned her down because I was like, that's crazy. And then I woke up one day, 2 weeks later, with a cold sweat, like, what the fuck? Are you insane? But, at the time, any change was scary. Like, hey, who's this girl? I got to go out the road with her? What? That sounds horrible. Yeah. And then I was like, wait, what? She's bigger than me. She could help me. What am I doing? And I called her back and was like, is that offer still stand? She was like, okay. And that was it. So I almost blew it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just shows you. I'm an introvert. I'm a weirdo. I don't like new people scare me. And I almost blew it, but I grabbed my balls and said, just call her, you pussy. And now I'm glad I did.
So the first time that I heard you was, and I don't know if it was Opie and Anthony at the time or Opie and Jim at the time, whatever configuration of the show was, but I'm like, wow, this guy's different. And like how you said it, you're an introvert, all the stories you would tell, you were so interesting and so funny.
Wow, thanks.
I'm like,
jeez.
No, and I mean that. It's I'm like, this is very different. You know what I mean? Because your humor is definitely, different than what Jim Norton was on the show. And you guys had a good camaraderie with the comedians you had on. And actually, I'd be remiss in saying, rest in peace to Vic Henley. I know that he was on the show a bunch with you guys.
True. Yeah. Thanks. Those are hard times. Like, I learned how to do the radio from being on the radio, and just had to learn it and fail in real time.
I think that the show actually really, listen, it was always a great show, but it hit its stride when you guys were on.
Oh, that's crazy. Come on. It used to be Patrice and Quinn and Burr and all these guys, Louis.
100%, and they're all phenomenal. You added something definitely different and a different perspective. So that was my first introduction to you.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man, because I slaved over those interviews. Like, they're at 8 a.m. and you're hungover, you're gay, but you're like, fuck it. And I remember being on the subway, like, terrified to go on, because it's not like a podcast where you go, take that out, let me try again. It was just into the mic and out into the world, and then it goes on YouTube after that. So, and then sometimes I was in there with Seth Rogen once, Weird Al, Michael Madsen. Like, every now and then you're on with like a legit celebrity, and you're just some piece of shit dude, open micer, nobody. So it was pretty nerve-wracking. It was like 0 to 60 in no time, and you had to get your shit together. And I remember looking at the clock a lot of times, and you had about an hour and a half to just try to be as funny and entertaining as possible. And I remember looking at the clock being like, oh, God, we only have 6 minutes of show left. I got to say a joke. I got to get one more joke in. And that was like my whole life for years, just being on that show. Just get another joke in, get another one in. And after a while, it started to work where people were tweeting, "Put him back on. He was fun. Bring him back." And that meant the world to me.
Right on. Yeah, I can imagine a certain amount of, okay, I got to say something funny now. I gotta. Did I say too much? Should I fall back? You know, it's
a delicate balance.
How nerve-wracking that is.
Delicate balance of like be memorable, but don't suffocate the show, and don't have too many bomb lines. You know, but be funny enough. But yeah, it was tough.
My introduction to you was not as far as Rocco, but maybe about 6 months ago, I'm doing some freelance work. I'm on the computer. I always throw on Rogan. I'm a big Rogan fan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, comedian Mark Norman, give him a shot.
All right, thanks for the shot.
Yeah, let's throw the guy a shot.
Yeah.
And
not the first guy for a shot.
Hey, there it is.
And I'm sitting there doing work, and I'm like, does Rogan have a game show host on? I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? So all of a sudden I hear, well, why don't you Google that, J-Mo? And I'm like, who is this guy? What is this guy talking about? So I clicked the video, and I'm like, all right, this is very common. I'm like, his voice is very unique. Like, I'm sure somebody had to have said something to you along the lines. Like, your voice is very unique, memorable, if anything. And I listened to the whole podcast. I was like, not only is he a dick, but he's funny.
Well, if there's anything I've learned from being 5'10" and 12 pounds is you can get away with a lot more because no one's threatened by you. And I said, fuck, I started using that. And I hope people always say, oh, you sound so insincere. You sound like you're full of shit all the time. And I just thought, well, if I sound like I'm full of shit, I'll say mean stuff and get away with it because they don't believe me anyway. So if you don't believe the nice stuff, hopefully you won't believe the bad shit. And so, and I think people know I'm joking, and I try to wait till I have a rapport with somebody at least. But trust me, there's been a lot of fuck ups where I had guys push me against the wall and go, "You got a problem?" I'm like, "No, I'm joking." So it hasn't come without its with its faults.
I can only imagine, getting mugged. You throwing some one-liners at him.
Yeah, that happened once. I had a guy. He pulled my my headphones. I was in a blackout basically, and he pulled my headphone cord and he goes, "Give me that fucking radio." And I was so drunk in my head, I go, "It's not a radio. Like, you fucking idiot. It's an MP3 player. It's an iPod, you kook." But he didn't like that.
Well, speaking of people like that, when you're on stage, and I'm sure earlier in your career, hecklers, how'd you deal with hecklers?
Oh,
would you give them the time of day, or would you say, fuck that, I'm not even going to answer this jerk off in the back? Or
well, when I was new, I was so green and scared and trembling up there that I just would be like, "Oh, shut up, fuck you, hey." And then sometimes I was so out to lunch that I would actually try to reason with the guy. I'd be like, "What's your problem, man? Dude, I'm trying to do my act up here. Jeez." And then you slowly realize that's the worst thing you can do. Because then they go, "We got this fucking bitch on the ropes. Get him, keep hitting him." Gotcha. So I think I just go old school and look at them and find the one flaw and just fucking drill down on it. You fat piece of shit. Look how fat your wife is. You hate yourself. What do you, look at you. You're so poor. And I just tear them to pieces. And they usually back down. And again, you have the microphone and they don't. So it's a lot of fun. Also, when a guy heckles you, the crowd is kind of on your side already because that guy's kind of ruining the show. So if you say anything remotely quick or clever, they'll get behind you, I think.
Certain comics, like I've heard, like Artie Lang, which we're big fans of.
Yeah.
He'll put himself, not literally, but he'll put himself in a hole in the beginning of his set just to see if he can fucking work himself out of it.
Yeah, a lot of Bill Burr does that. I don't know. I'm not as skilled as those guys or as seasoned as those guys, but they also have their own fans. I'm still, I got half the room who knows me from my podcast or Rogan or TV. And then I got the other half is a bunch of couples who are looking to get a night out so they don't divorce each other, or just somebody who got free tickets or whatever. So I feel like I still need to win the crowd over and get them on my side. And also I like getting a lot of laughs. I don't want to just dig a hole. I don't want to piss somebody off. So it's not my cup of jizz. I get it. And it's impressive. And I don't know if I could do it. But I guess those guys are just so funny and they get bored. They're like, let's do a new challenge. To me, the challenge is making them laugh constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want the whole part.
Gotcha.
But I'm not knocking them. I think it's impressive.
Of course.
But it's like saying, hey, sometimes I like fucking a fat chick and then seeing if I can get to the hot chick or whatever, you know, like just fuck the hot chick.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's a bad analogy.
What came first? Your Comedy Central special or your comedy album that you put out?
I think they were pretty close. I think they were like neck and neck. But I think I put the album out via a bacteria called H. pylori, and then I shot the special, the half-hour special. And if you watch the half-hour special, I'm puffy, I'm sweaty, I'm bloated. My face is like a moon because I was so fucked up from the bacteria. And yeah, you can see it in the video.
In the half-hour special, are you like, okay, this is like my break, and I have whatever the fuck you had?
It was perfect. It was like, all right, this is how things should be. It all sucks. I fucked up. I finally got to the mountaintop, and then I blew it. And I looked like hell for the rest of my life. Just cemented on television for my big break. I'm ill, I'm sweaty, and I'm a fat piece of garbage. And this is it. I made it. I always do that. I open for Seinfeld, and I fuck that up. So I always get up here, and then I blow it.
So how do you know how it does? Like, what do you do after that? Like, you know, you tape the special, it plays, it airs. You know, obviously it's hilarious, but like, do you hear back from Comedy Central? Do you what's the next step?
Nothing. I mean, that was back when that was like kind of pre-Twitter, pre-Instagram. That was 2013. So it was like, that was it. Comedy Central was it. The TV was it. This was before everybody had like a web show and they were YouTube stars and you could do your own special. Like you needed TV back then. And I did mine with Michael Che. It was me and him. They would do it back to back. And it was me and Michael Che. I went first and I had a good set. And he went up and just blew the doors off and he got on SNL.
Yeah,
so
funny dude.
That's how he's a great comic, great guy. But that's how you know who got anything out of that. Like I got a paycheck and had a few high fives, but nothing else in my life changed. I went back to work on Monday as a janitor, but he got SNL. So it just kind of showed like, oh, this guy's got it. I might have a couple zingers up my asshole, but this guy's like a star. So yeah, that was business as usual. Just do some jokes. I felt lucky to have the special. I took my paycheck. I told my parents. They didn't care. And then I went back to work on Monday, and then he went to SNL. That's showbiz.
And the your comedy album still got it. It is hilarious. But
thanks.
You know, Archie and I both grew up listening to comedy albums. Like that was the way that I felt like that you absorbed comedy. You know, like my dad had always had like Richard Pryor albums, Red Fox, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's almost like a lost art these days.
I completely agree. I think it's the best way to take in comedy. Like I just watched the Louis special and it's great and I laughed and it was well done, but something about that earbud going in, it just goes right to your brain. You're kind of visualizing it better in your head. You're like, it's almost like reading a book where you see the whole thing in your head and you can see the bits. When they describe a bit, you can see the whole scenario at the mall with the fight with the cashier. You can see it all in your head and I think it makes it funnier. I think it's a better way to absorb it. But people want video, even with podcasts. Everybody wants video.
So talk about also, you said that you opened up for Seinfeld, and I know that I've heard some stories you've told, and he's always had complimentary things to say about you. I mean, that's gotta feel like absolutely surreal.
Surreal is the word. Yeah, it's crazy. The whole thing's crazy. And a friend of mine had a great point because he gave me a shout out on the Mets game, and the beauty of that is. It's on video. I have proof. Yes. I can show people. And I can never take that away. I can try to get a special. I can I can't get a boner or whatever it is. Whatever happens, I got that on video. And I can play it on a loop just to try to get hard again or whatever it is. And they can't take it away from you. So that was great. And I mean, this is a guy I grew up watching. I know every bit of his. I know his voice. I know the TV show. I know the documentary comedian like the back of my asshole. And then this guy is talking about me. It's one of the cool things about comedy. Like, let's say I was a barroom guitar guy. He's never going to meet Mick Jagger. Those people never cross paths. But in comedy, an open micer can meet Bill Burr somewhere, or a lady at a hotel can meet Bill Cosby. Either way, it's cool. That's a cool thing about comedy. It's the least pretentious art form. even though that sounded pretentious.
As far as performing in a nightclub, bumping etiquette, have you ever been bumped? Somebody big comes in and you're like,
Come
well,
on.
fuck me. That's about it.
All the time. And I totally get it. You know, if Chris Rock shows up or Ellen DeGeneres or Dave Chappelle, whoever the hell, and they want to go on, I mean, that's the breaks. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, the audience doesn't care about me. They want, and if Kevin Hart shows up, the real Kevin Hart, they're gonna go nuts. And it helps the club. It helps business. And it's the crowd's happier. And hopefully one day in 20 years, I can bump one of you two.
Yeah. I've heard Chris Rock say, like, working out new material, he'll go to like West Palm Beach to some, you know, little club where older folk that wouldn't even get him, he'll like perform in front of them.
Yeah.
See if he gets laughs. Because he'll know that, like, obviously he goes to Caroline's, often goes to the store or whatever, you know, he'll kill. Even if it's new material, people might just laugh anyway.
Right.
He knows if he goes in front of them, he'll get some true laughs.
Yeah, I think that's why he's the real deal, because he's trying to find the actually funny parts instead of just getting the blown from the laugh feeling. He doesn't just want the good part of the laugh. Like, he's not trying to stroke his own dick. He's actually trying to get work done. Yeah. I think that's why he's so good. That's why his hours are so phenomenal. I mean, he was the guy that kind of got me into it more than anybody else.
And how about you when you work out your material? You just think of a scenario. Are you all right? So different comedians, I know they like Seinfeld had papers and papers and papers, right? That special that he had.
Yeah.
Other comedians we've talked to, I just kind of remember things offhand, or I write bullet points down. What type of comedian are you?
I'm a pen and paper guy. I have stacks of notes at home, and 98% of them are worthless. Just shit I thought of. Should I try it out? I've spent weeks on jokes that I thought had potential and went nowhere. So digital helps because you can write some shit down on your phone or your laptop, but I still like the pen and paper. I feel like it flows out of you better. And I'm a paper guy. I like to write it, and I like to keep them on me. I like to actually hold the paper.
Yeah.
It's something about going through your phone notes. It feels weird and disconnected. I get it. It's more efficient. It's probably smarter. But I like to look at shit I wrote, and also you can write up on the top of the paper. There's less restrictions. You know, you can write upside down. You can scratch shit out. The phone it's too structured.
Yeah.
I want to get crazy in there. I want to put an arrow up to this thing, circle that thing, put a swastika, whatever it is. You know, I don't want to just have that little typey thing. That's not enough.
Yeah.
How long do you give a joke if it doesn't get over before you're like, fuck this, I'm not saying this again?
I might be the wrong guy to ask about that because I'll give it years. I've had jokes that bomb for years, and I don't do it bombing for years, but I'll put it aside and come back to it. A joke, it's like something you fall in love with, and you kind of have to fall out of love with it before you can see it for what it really is. Sometimes like, I know this is great, fuck you, get away from me, this is gold, but it's not gold. So if you tweak one little thing, it'll be gold, but you're not going to see that. It's like a mom, how her mom goes, my son is beautiful, he's so pretty. You're like, that kid's retarded. He looks like hell. He's a weird-looking kid. He's got one eye, you know? You got to get away from the kid to see how ugly it is, and then you can fix it.
That makes sense.
All right.
My son, look at him. He's gorgeous.
He's gorgeous. And they squish his fat cheeks like, no, he's a troll. He's a ghoul. He's hideous.
Walking diabetes.
Yeah.
Would you say you're more of like an offensive or a defensive comedian? Like pulling audibles like the day of the show? Like, are you going to wait?
Oh.
Like, all right, so you get in, you throw that first line in there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it didn't kill as I thought it was going to kill, but all right, let's see how I'm going to maneuver this set.
Yeah. Well, on TV, it's definitely tried and true. Stick with the plan. This is how we're going to go. This is the order. This is the opener. This is the closer. But if I'm in a club in Rochester, New York, I'll call an audible in a second. I'll go, oh, that didn't work. Let me go dirty. Let me throw some more curse words in. Let me pull back, then go to the closer now and all that shit. But on TV, it's pretty much set in stone.
My wife, we're about to have our second child. I made her watch your special not too long ago. She's still laughing about the vagina monster.
Oh, great. All right. I appreciate it. Yeah, that joke took forever to get to work.
Oh my God, she seriously, she had borderline tears because it was relatable, obviously.
Yeah, thank you.
So
thank you. True story. Well, that's one of those things where you tell somebody that and they go, "Wait, what?" The whole premise of the joke is a baby is the only thing that comes out of a person that other people want to hold.
Yes.
But I told people, like, I don't know about it. That's weird. That seems a little too high concept. You're all over the place with that. I'm like, no, I'm serious. There's something there. They're like, nah. But I knew I had faith in that bit.
And you want to know what? Out of this, we laughed the entire time, but out of that special, I looked over at her and she was, you could see when somebody's genuinely like losing her breath,
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we definitely enjoyed that. That special, Amy Schumer produced it.
Yep.
How did that come about?
Well, opening for her for years, literally like 7 years, 6 years on the road together. I watched her go from rinky-dink clubs to the Garden, all the way to the top. I saw the whole rise. And, you spend a lot of time in cars, flights, trains, the whole thing. And she said, I noticed you're getting better and better. I like this joke. I like that joke. Would you want to do a special? And of course, I'm flipping out of my head. I'm like, what are you kidding? Of course, but you don't ask.
Yep.
And I had no juice. I still have no juice. But she had a ton of juice. And she was like, I bet I can get it to happen. So with her name on it, they actually said yes. They wouldn't do it now for just me, which I get, fuck it, whatever. But she was nice enough to do it. And she did it for Sam. And I think she did it for a couple other people too. So people give her shit, but she's a giver. She's loyal and she likes young comics. She wants, if she can help, she'll help.
See, you say not for you, but not yet, Mark. Not yet. It's coming.
Maybe one day. I need to go viral. I need to have a scandal. Something's got to happen. I got to kill a kid or rape a dog. Something.
Something good.
Yeah.
So during this time, are you writing your ass off? Are you just? I mean, you're still doing a podcast.
Yep.
Podcast is pretty successful with Joe List.
Yeah, finally going well. We're doing it 6 years. It's finally cooking. But I'm writing, but I find I can't write much outside of Corona. Corona's it's taken over everything. And This is our world now. So I'm just writing about our world, even though when we get out of this, I don't think people are going to want to hear about it. Let's be honest. So I need to get back to reality, but this is reality. So it's tough to write about other things because you're not experiencing anything. You're going to the grocery store. Everybody's got a gas mask on. You come home, you cook, you jerk off, you watch Game of Thrones, and then you go to bed. I don't know. It's tough to write while the world is weird.
I'm
trying. I'm tweeting like there's no tomorrow just because I need to have some kind of outlet and some kind of joke exercise.
Yeah. And one thing I was going to ask you about your tweets, like, do you sometimes feel that like when you tweet something out, you're like, maybe I should have saved that for a set, or? No,
I use it as an open mic. If it does well, I'll do it on stage too.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
I was reading the one you had. I was fucking laughing my ass off about no longer handshaking, just intermittent fisting.
Oh yeah, that was today. Yeah. See, that's a fun one because it's a pun.
Yeah.
But it's filthy. It's a filthy pun, and it's topical.
So talk about performing on the Tonight Show. I mean, that's like every comedian's dream, I'm sure. And that had to be like definitely one of your bucket list things, no?
Yeah, for sure. You got the suit on. It's in 30 Rock. Fallon's right there. The Roots are right there. There's so much history. That was a big one. And I did 3 of them. And the first one was fun, but the second one, I really feel like I got it. I zoned in and picked the right material. And that was the best feeling ever. Just really killing on that show. Even though nobody saw it. Still has not many views. But hey, either way, felt good for me. And yeah, that was a big one. Like I've done Fallon, I've done Colbert, I've done Corden, and those are great. But the Tonight Show, there's still something about it. Just those words, the Tonight Show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just feels good, And also there's a lot of restrictions. Like you can't talk about homeless people. You can't say God. You can't say Jesus. I mean, I couldn't say bitch.
So basically, you had to write a whole new act to go on the Tonight Show.
Basically, yeah. Or at least twist and tweak yours to where it fits. And that's challenging. So when it hits after all that, you're like, all right, this joke was funny. It's not just because I said balls, you know? So that felt good.
It has to give you the restriction that you get from that you have. Like, it has to like kind of like teach your brain that, you want to know what? I have to actually be funny.
Yes.
Without being dirty.
Yes, and a lot of guys won't do them. Like Chris Rock's like, what's the point? Joe Rogan's like, fuck them. They want me to change. This is my act. I'm doing me. Why would I do that? I'm like, well, we're not all millionaires with a fucking gigantic podcast. That's sculpts the landscape of society. Yeah. You know, I need this shit, and it's fun. I get a lot of shit from that. Why do you do a Tonight Show? You get nothing from it. Well, it's fun. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It's still the Tonight Show. I'm still
You're
wearing
on
a suit.
TV. It's a Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it would be a no-brainer.
How did someone like you land that? As far as like did your agent say, all right, I got you an opportunity. I got you this? Or
well, it doesn't hurt that I've done 8 Conans now, and the other one's Corden, Colbert. So that doesn't hurt. But also, I shot the Schumer special that week, and I needed to promote it. So they said, well, with all this package, it's all about a package deal. Like, this guy's done this many Conan. He's got a special coming out. He's done Corden. He's done Colbert. He should do the Tonight Show. And they look at all that together, and they go, all right, we'll give it to him. So that's how I got it. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, you just got to go in cold. Like, here's my tape. Please use me. And they usually say no. But with all that behind me, they let me do it.
You're in the green room, all suited up, ready to go.
Yep.
What are your nerves like when Fallon's going to say your name? What's going on inside your brain?
It's pretty brutal. I mean, you're just trying to hold in a shit. You know, you're like, keep it together. Don't flip out. Everything in your brain goes, get out of here, leave. This is going to be a bad move. You're going to bomb on television. You're going to forget a word on television. You're going to be frozen on TV. It's going to be on fucking YouTube for the rest of your life. But you just got to keep pushing that down. You know, it's almost like not getting it up, you know, where you're like, the more you think about not getting it up, the more you're not going to get it up.
Gotcha.
And you just got to stay, shut up. I'll get horny. It'll be fine. Shut up. Your dick works. You had a boner this morning. Your dick works. Shut up. But it's the same with the Tonight Show. You just got to go, forget it. Just put it out of your brain. And that's why you bring friends to the green room. So you can fuck with them the whole time and pretend you're not flipping out.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be on Conan today. How crazy is that?
Oh, man.
It's in my calendar. I was supposed to be on it today, but the world went to hell. So, yeah. It's going to be hard to get back, too, to schedule.
Yeah, I was going to say, the gigs that you got that are canceled and your appearances, like, how does that work? Like, is it just, like, suspended for a couple months and they're going to reschedule? Like, you know, I know you said you tour every weekend, so.
Mostly, I had a date or a weekend booked every weekend this year. My whole 2020 was locked up. My agent was killing it, and it was all ready to go. And the only thing left now is like November on, because all the clubs are like, well, we got to honor this guy before we honor you. And so like I basically moved everything to 2021, which is a bummer. So we're all just taking a back seat to this thing, and we're all going to have to like get good again. And I hope I don't lose fans. It's a real kick in the balls, but I hope in 2 years we look back and go, oh yeah, that was a blip. Forgot all about it.
I think so. So at least I tell my wife.
Yeah.
Honey, don't worry. It's a blip.
Nah, it's going to be fine.
It's a blip.
I put Corona aside. Sounds like I'm talking about some Spanish stripper. put Corona aside.
Yeah.
Starting a podcast, a web series, Facebook, Twitter. Do you think it's like mandatory for a comedian nowadays?
Yeah. I don't think it's mandatory. I think some guys have gotten around, like, you know, Michael Che, for example. We talk about him. He just was likable. He had it. He was funny. He was cool. Boom. Straight up. He never had to do a web series or a Twitter thing, or he never had to make an Instagram funny video. Like, he does funny stuff, but he never had to go through that.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking him. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
But some people just get pushed up to the top because they have this special quality. But the 99% of the rest of us, we gotta do all that shit. We gotta have a cool pod. We gotta get on big pods. We gotta have a web series or something, some way to get in. Because now there's so many comics. There used to be like 8 comics. Now there's so many comics that like, how are you going to stand out? What do you have? And one way to stand out is be in a wheelchair or be trans or be something like that. You know, be a gay black guy with an eye patch. You know, you got to have a thing now. And the things are getting more and more specific because there's so many comics.
Yeah.
So you got to find your way in. Funny is like 13th on the list now. Funny's out. There's a lot of funny guys.
That's crazy.
You got to be funny and this.
I noticed that every time, you know, because Rogan obviously has a lot of comedians on, he hooks up his friends or whoever, however he does that. But it's like, you know, Joe Smith, his podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a podcast.
That's him throwing them a bone because he knows, like, he's like, I'm lucky. I'm grateful. I can help someone's career. So I might as well do it, especially if he likes you or he respects what you do. Because the industry, they're clueless. They don't know what's funny or who's good. They just go off of the heat. They go, oh, you got a ton of Twitter followers? Book them. But you go, yeah, but that guy's a hack. They go, I don't care. He's got followers. They're not in this for the art or the integrity. They're trying to make money, which I get. They're business people, which is fine. But that's why guys like him are great because they actually help people who could use a bump. He helped me a ton.
I'm sure after you debuted on his show.
Oh, huge bump.
Huge bump.
Huge. I sold out every show at a club since I did his show.
That's awesome.
I wasn't a sellout guy.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah,
You went on for 2-3 hours. You hung out. You were yourself.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I tried. I brought it. And it helps. But it just goes to show you, like, let's say I did his show and I just blew like Theo Vaughn blew up. He beyond blew up. And he's doing theaters now because of that show. I mean, he's hilarious. But that show's what set him off. And now the industry's up his ass. Like, he's trying to sell a TV show. He's right there. I think he's about to do a new special. But he's the same guy he was when he couldn't get it. They just didn't know, or they didn't care, or now that he's got some juice, now they care. They used to go, this guy's got something, let's build him up. Let's give this guy a career. We have the network. We have the power. But now that they don't want to take any risks, which I get, you know. Why would they want to take a risk? But it still sucks for comics.
It's kind of like that in the music world too. So like, you know, places that book us, it's how many tickets can you sell? You know, how many, everything is how many Facebook followers do you have?
Yeah.
And you're right. You have to go out there and do the work. It doesn't have to be the best, right? Do all the work, you know, be successful, have the followers, you know, sell shit on your own, and then they'll take over.
Yes.
So I know what you're saying.
Which, again, it sucks, but I get it. I get why would they want to do work or take a risk? They could lose a ton of money.
Sure.
So they're also competing too with the internet, with web, with Instagram, with YouTube, all that shit. So they're scrambling too, and I'm sure eventually they'll go away. But that's why I think you got to focus on the internet. Find your own people, put your own shit out, because these gatekeepers, that's kind of archaic. It's kind of over.
So talk to me about Mark Norman Needs Help. I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a fan who, he's a Tuesday. He's a fan of the act. He was like, "This is weird. You don't have a show. I've seen you do this. I've seen you do that. Like, we can make you a show." And we sat down, and that's the concept we kind of came up with. Him more than me, and it was pretty elaborate. I mean, with the multiple universes and all that shit. But I mean, God bless the guy. He had an idea and he stuck to it. We shot the trailer or the sizzle, and the sizzle looked pretty cool. And we shopped it everywhere. Nobody liked it. And then eventually we said, fuck it, let's put the sizzle on YouTube. And people love the sizzle.
It was hilarious. And you know, Arch, I don't know if you saw it, but it's like Mark, other Mark Normans from alternate universes consult him when he has a problem or an issue. But I mean, it looked like something that you would shop out. And I'm like, oh, man, is this a trailer? Is this going to be like a TV show or something? Because it's really, really well done.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we were out that everywhere. And I've pitched a million shows, and most of them they annoy people. They go, this sucks. You waste my day. But this one I actually felt confident about because that sizzle was so professionally done. But still, nobody cared. No juice. If I had juice, they would have bought it.
Not yet.
Are there any auditions? Because you say you pitched a lot of shows, like, and I heard in an interview that something about acting that you're like, nah, I'm not really meant for acting.
Nah.
Are there any auditions you regret not getting?
Oh, of course. Well, most of them I wanted to get. But yeah, I get it. Like, I'm so bad. Every audition I leave and I go, ooh, if they book me, they're idiots. But there's been a couple where I walked away like, how did I not get that? Like, we need an awkward, curly-haired, skinny douche to say one line who sounds like a game show host, and I didn't get it. I'm like, well, that's weird. But most of them I get. I've been kicked out of auditions before. I had an audition once for a drama where I was watching a football game with my dad in the audition, and my dad has a heart attack on the couch next to me and dies. And that was my role where I go, Dad, what? Come on, what are you dying? Oh my God! And they were like, get out of here. I just couldn't do it convincingly, and it was too dramatic. And they were like, they wanted me to cry. I can't cry on cue, so they threw me out.
What would you want to plug now? I mean, obviously everyone's stuck in their houses, right? You got your podcast. You want to shout that out? Oh
yeah. It's Tuesdays with Stories. Comes out every Tuesday. Me and my friend Joe List. We got a rapport. We yuck it up, and it's built like a whole language and a world, and it's pretty fun. And it's just a joke a second. We're awkward, low self-esteem guys, so we have to have a punchline every 2 seconds. Unlike a lot of these podcasts, they're called comedy podcasts, but they're not actually that funny. We actually try to be funny, and that's our pod. Check that out on all the tunes and whatnot. And then I got a special coming out May 12th called Out to Lunch on YouTube.
Very good. We got to get you a Netflix special. Well, not me, not us,
nice. But no juice.
You are fucking Netflix worthy, bro.
I got nothing. I don't have it.
You're too modest. And when you hear, comedians talk and stuff, it's like I feel like you kind of fall under that same category as like a tell, where you're known as like a comedian's comedian. You know what I mean? And I think the way you mix, you're like you were saying before, how you adjust on the fly when it's a club show, whether I need to get dirtier, I need to, curse more, I need to be more sarcastic. I think the way that you weave it and mix it together is pretty phenomenal. And it gives a little bit of everything for somebody.
Oh, hey, I appreciate that. Well, I got to say before we go, I was mocked incessantly about my style when I was started. Like, everybody told me, you got to change this, you got to stop doing that, you can't talk about this. So it just goes to show you, like, just do you all the way, and the kinks will work out. Everybody made fun of me, and now I hear these kids tell me, like, hey, this guy's doing you in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, doing me? I was made fun of for 7 years about me. Like, this kid's an idiot. If he's doing me, he should be doing someone who's big. But yeah, so it just goes to show you, just keep doing you.
The one thing I did want to ask you, and I was curious about this. When they were doing some close-ups during the special that I watched,
yeah,
some of the jokes, like, I'm like, how is he not laughing at himself? Like, that's fucking hysterical.
Come on, I've told him a billion times.
True, but are you thinking, like, as a comedian, are you thinking a joke ahead?
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
Maybe 2 jokes ahead. Like, you're thinking, like, all right, you want to know? Bang, I got him. All right, next.
Yes. I heard Louis once say, and good observation. But sometimes I think I'm too rote. Like, I'm too just computer robot, deliver. This joke goes after this joke. And Louis once said, your material too well. You got to, like, act like you're in it. And once he said that, I was like, oh my God, he's so right. Ah, shit. And I kind of tried to change after that. But
yeah,
you watch like a real good comic, a pro, and it sounds cliche, but it looks like they're making it up right there. They're just talking. And I was very like delivery. And that was definitely a good note. And I tried to work on that.
Because I know that, like, obviously every comedian's different. But I watched the one of Bert Kreischer's specials the other day.
Yeah.
He just fucking laughs at himself.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Not that you would like, that's what you have to do, but I'm saying, like, some of your lines, I'm like, how does he keep a straight face like that? Like, it's fucking funny. Like, that's great.
I'm so worried about you guys being bored that I can't even think to laugh. But Bird also, that's also, I think, that's a smart move. I think people subconsciously, whether they realize it or not, I think they like the guy more when he's laughing. And I don't want to be one of those guys who laughs at himself because it can be seen as a trick. I'm not saying he's doing a trick, but I don't want people to accuse me of that. So
it's almost like a laugh track in a comedy. In a sitcom, they're telling you where to laugh and when to laugh.
Remember on SNL when Jimmy Fallon was a cast member on SNL, he would break all the time. And we loved it. We're like, he's breaking. But after a while, you're like, wait a minute. He's doing this every sketch. This is a trick. He's tricking us. He knows we like it. So you don't want to be that guy.
Gotcha. Mark, I could definitely speak for Rocky. Dude, as far as like one of the up and coming and even further that you are now, you're one of our favorite comedians right now. We like seriously really appreciate you giving us the time coming on our podcast.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching my shit and wanting to talk. It's all very, very thoughtful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, hopefully next time we can, maybe in a year from now, we'll meet up in New York. Since we're New Jersey guys, we can meet up in New York. We can do another one, talk about your next special, chill out for a little bit, have a beer.
It's a date. You got it, Fatty.
All right, brother. Mark Norman, everybody.
Mark Norman.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy, guys. Queen.
Thanks, brother.
Wash your hands, Mark.
Wash your dick. Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
You just heard us interview the great Mark Norman, fucking funny comedian. His full special on YouTube called Out to Lunch is available now. Please give it a listen, share it, like it. He'll love you. If you like it, he's that type of guy. So, with that being said, Rockins, is there anything you would like to say to the people?
Yo, if you're chilling with your mama, listen to our boy Post Kill Some Nirvana, you got a pet iguana and a mail order bride named Svetlana, then you're listening to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Yeah.